What is up, YouTube? Dots Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you guys the next video in my Veteran Hard Mode Dungeon Guide series, and today we will be covering Volenfell. So Volenfell really isn't a difficult dungeon. It's actually, in my opinion, very easy. It's just kind of the final boss fight that gives people trouble in this dungeon, as well as actually navigating it. I've seen some pugs get lost in here before, but the big thing is that the Guardian Construct's final boss at the end is definitely one that I've seen trip up plenty of pickup groups before. So that's why we have this guide here for you guys today to cover all of that stuff. But we're also going to be going over the gear sets that you can acquire in this dungeon, as well as any notable ad mechanics. And there really isn't many. The dungeon is fairly basic, but we're going to still cover it because we want to make sure that we cover all these dungeons for the people that still need those guides. So the first set that you're going to find in this dungeon is Tremor Scale, which gives a line of max stam, and when you taunt an enemy, you have a 50% chance to cause a Dune Ripper to burst from the ground beneath them, dealing damage to all enemies within 4 meters after a second and reducing their movement speed by 70% for the 3 seconds, and this can occur once every 4 seconds, and that is the monster set. We also have the light armor set, Treasure Hunter, which is a line of max magicka, 2 lines of spell crit, major prophecy at all times, and 100 spell damage added on that 5-piece. We also have Dune Ripper Scales, which gives a line of max health, 2 lines of healing taken, and when you are blocking, your physical and spell resistance increased by 4,300, and that is the heavy armor set. And then finally, we have the medium armor set, Crusader, which gives 2 lines of max stam, a line of stam recovery, and increases the dodge chance of roll dodge by increases the dodge chance bonus of roll dodge by 0.3 seconds. So as you can see here, we actually have our first boss, the Desert Lion. The only mechanic that you need to worry about with the Desert Lion is that every now and then the lion will fear you. And besides that, there are basically no other mechanics. And as you see, we literally ripped right through it. It was nothing to worry about. So the first boss, fairly easy. Like I said, the majority of the bosses in this dungeon have like 1, maybe 2 mechanics. There really isn't a lot to worry about here mechanically. It's just kind of, like I said, that final boss fight that I've seen pickup groups get really tripped up on, and it mostly has to do with the order in which you need to kill the bosses. A lot of groups will mess that up, or they'll try to tank all, because there's 3 bosses in that final boss fight, or they'll try to tank all 3 at the same time and just really kind of mess the whole thing up. But yeah, like I said, we have the guide here for you guys today, so we will be covering that. So as you can see here, mechanically, there isn't a lot to worry about with these ads. Just literally dodge AoEs and you'll be fine. And then as we move up the stairs, we actually have our second and then third boss. So we have let me find his name here, Quintus Verus. We have Quintus Verus, and as well as the monstrous gargoyle. So Quintin, as you can see, has a heavy attack. Just simply block it and you will not get stunned as the tank, easy peasy. He also has this AoE cleave attack, so as long as you don't stand in that AoE, you will be fine. And then that's all for phase 1. Phase 2 is going to occur when he hits 50%, and as you can see, he's going to run back to his crate here, about 50%, and he's going to grab a staff, which he's then going to use to put big AoE flames on the ground, and if you just don't stand in them, you will be fine. He also has that, looks like that was like an AoE dragon attack-ish thing that came up from the ground. As you can see, that feared our tank, so just CC that and you'll be fine. Or CC break it, rather, and you'll be fine. And then as he gets close to death, he will summon the monstrous gargoyle who jumps down. And he, again, is fairly basic. As the tank, just face him away from the party. He has 2 mechanics, a conal AoE stun, which you will see our tank right next to me get affected by. And then he will also, so you can see you got the stun just occurred right there. You just CC break that and you'll be good. And then he also has this AoE smash attack, and as long as you don't stand in it, you'll be fine. But as you can see, our other DD was standing in it and he took very minimal damage. But obviously, if you're a bit squishier, you're going to want to do your best to avoid standing in it. But that's it. Simply put, monstrous gargoyle, Quintus Verus, done. The next, we have about 3 more bosses too before we get to our final boss, all relatively simple in terms of mechanics. So we have a couple of ad packs here before we approach our door into the next section. The first half of the dungeon is more humanoid and beast enemies, and then we're eventually going to encounter way more Dwemer enemies as we head deeper and deeper into Volenfell. So basically with these guys, you literally just have to not stand in attacks, basically. That's how most ad fights are. There really isn't anything notable for any of these, the base game ads here. It's just don't stand in the red and you'll be fine. As you come into this cavern here, we are going to get our first taste of the Dwemer ads, and as the tank, basically, you want to taunt the spheres. The spiders are relatively, harmless, so as long as you just group them up, your group will be able to knock him down fairly quickly. You want to taunt the sphere because that's the one ad in the pack that will actually deal some damage to your party. So just simply taunt him and focus him first as the damage dealers, and you guys will be pretty much good to go. So as you go through the door here, you're going to go into your next area where you got a couple of spiders and spheres here. You just want to kill them very quickly, and you will be fine. Really nothing to worry about. And do not go down that staircase. You need to actually go straight first and go into this door and kill a boss in here and pull a lever that will actually allow you to go into the next section. A lot of the doors in this dungeon are locked until you pull levers that will unlock them. So you need to go in here, kill the boss, and pull the lever to actually get into the next section. So as we head into the Guardian's Helm, we're going to actually encounter our next boss, and that is Boil Bite. And Boil Bite is extremely easy. All that Boil Bite has is they have some ads around them, so just kill the ads first. And then once the ads are killed, all the tank has to do is just tank Boil Bite, and whenever the boss uses his big AoE attack, just walk out of it. And that's literally all you have to worry about for this boss. As you can see, AoE attack, don't stand in it, and then nothing happens. That's really it. That's all you have to worry about for this boss. It's fairly basic. Not a lot mechanically. And then just like that, Boil Bite is dead. And then there's the lever back here behind this like little altar thing. So as you can see, our tank goes back there, pulls the lever, and that will allow us to advance through the next door that we're going to encounter after a couple more ad packs. There's going to be a door, and if we did not pull that lever, that door would still be locked. We'd have to run all the way back here and pull it. So make sure you do not forget to pull that lever. Pull the lever, Kronk, XD. So we head back out, and we head down the staircase that we saw earlier, and we're going to encounter a Dwarven Centurion when we kind of go through this little, up this staircase here. So, you know, simply put, focus the Centurion first, then the sphere, then the spiders, and then the beetles that you also see there off to the right. So as you can see, our tank pulls the beetles. We have the beetles, the spheres, and the Centurion. Just do your best to keep them grouped up so that the AoE potential of your group can just take everything down fairly quickly. As you can see, we're able to cleave everything down incredibly fast with all of the AoE we have in the group. Now, when you head down here, you're just going to encounter a pack of lions. Really nothing you have to worry about. Again, mechanically, fairly easy. Just again, group them up, kill them. And then you're going to have another door here, like I mentioned earlier, and that's going to take you to the next boss, the Unstable Construct, who's also, it's like a Dwarven sphere on steroids. It's really got nothing overly complex. Again, it's just don't stand in the red and you'll basically be fine. So when you come in here, you have to pull the first lever. First thing you need to do. And then when you walk through this section, do your best not to get caught in the steam. The steam does actually deal a lot of damage, so do your best not to stand in it. And then as you see, we go through and we have the Unstable Construct. The Unstable Construct only has a couple mechanics. That first one where it jumps up in the air and slams on the ground. Just try your best not to be in that and you will be fine. Besides that, as you can see, it has like like a moving AoE attack along the ground. Do your best not to stand in that and you'll pretty much be fine. It also has a flame attack that you saw. It just kind of shoots like a little flame attack on the ground that doesn't really deal much damage. And then it has a bow attack that will deal a considerable amount of damage. But as long as your tank's taking it, it'll be fine. Then you pull the lever that was behind me. Go through that door over there. Pull that lever. And you will be good to move on to the next area. So as you can see, Unstable Construct was really easy. Like I said, it was just like a Dwarven sphere with like 1 or 2 additional mechanics. It really wasn't anything complex at all. And then when you come out of this door, we will encounter, I believe, our next boss right away. And that is going to be Tremor Scale, the boss that is the monster helm for this dungeon. Tremor Scale, again, really not that hard. The first thing that you have is that when Tremor Scale burrows under the ground at certain points in the fight, he will burst out and do some AoE damage. So just don't stand in that. You won't take any damage. And that's fairly easy. Besides that, it has a conal AoE tail swipe that you just saw it use, and as long as your tank keeps Tremor Scale faced away from the group, you will not even need to worry about that mechanic. And that's really it. So as you can see, he burrows, we all spread out, he comes up, AoE damage goes up, slams down, it stuns us. That's it. That's it. 2 mechanics. Tremor Scale, very, very easy boss. Now, I believe this is going to be our last pathway, and this is going to take us to the Guardian constructs, and they'll actually have some mechanics to talk about here. As you can see, the dungeon up to this point has been incredibly easy. Really not a lot to worry about. It's just this final boss fight that I've definitely seen give groups a lot of trouble. So I'm actually going to start talking about it just so that when we get there, you guys can see what I'm talking about. So our next section is going to have 3 Dwemer Centurion bosses, and it's going to be Soul, Strength, and Spark. So Spark is blue, Soul is, yellow, and Strength is red. So Strength you need to kill them in a certain order, and you're going to want to go yellow first, then blue, then red. I've also seen people go yellow, then red, then blue. It's just literally kill yellow first, and then you can kill the second 2 in whatever order you'd like. So the blue boss shoots sparks up into the air that will deal AoE damage upon them hitting the ground. Strength will just chase people around with this big AoE whirlwind attack and cannot be taunted. And then finally, Soul will deal an AoE conal attack, as you saw there, and will actually help heal and even out the health between the 3 different Centurions. So as you can tell by just me mentioning the mechanics, you want to kill Soul first. I've seen people tank this in multiple different ways. I've seen people tank Soul all the way in the back there. I've seen people do exactly what my tank is doing and taunt them all relatively close to each other so that you could just do all the AoE stuff. You can really do this however you'd like, but again, you want to kill Soul first so that the health isn't distributed between those 3 bosses. After that, we choose to go for Spark second and go for the blue guy, so he drops and goes down, and then finally you have Strength just drops. Now, I know we made that boss fight look incredibly easy, but we do have a lot of damage in my group, so it made that look incredibly easy. But as you can see, like this back section here, I've seen groups tank Soul back here. So you could very easily just tank Soul. And that's what the tank wants to do. Tank Soul in the back. Kill him first while the DPS just kite the mechanics from Strength and Spark around. And besides that, that is pretty much it, guys. Volenfell in the books. Fairly easy dungeon, but I wanted to make sure to cover it for you guys today. So if you guys found this helpful, please leave a like on the video. Any questions about the dungeon, please leave a comment below. And to keep up with the Dungeon Guide series, please hit that sub button as well as hit the bell to keep notifications on. So I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I very much appreciate it. As always, I'm Dots Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next video.